Hello everyone, this is my friend Becky. Becky is Miss Catherine's puppy. Hello. And Becky is going to be helping me tell you guys about life cycle research. Let's go.
All right, so as promised, Miss Becky is going to be helping us with our research. So let's get going. So today, this is the section that you'll be working on. It covers the life cycle. So you need to research the life cycle of your animal. You'll be looking at if it gives a live birth or if it lays and hatches from eggs. You need to find out the number of stages, what happens in each stage, if it molts or goes through metamorphosis, if you have chosen an insect, most likely, and some birds actually molt. And then you need to find out the lifespan, which is how long it lives. So let's go through and do a quick review of life cycles. So remember that each type of life cycle has a different life cycle, but they all share the same 4 steps, which is birth, growth, reproduction, and death. Okay, now you're going to be focused again on the birth, growth, and reproduction parts of your life cycles. So vertebrate life cycles, remember we have amphibians and they lay eggs in water, and then the eggs they hatch into a tadpole. The tadpole then grows 2 legs, then it grows another 2 legs, and then it becomes a frog that lives on land. With a bird life cycle, it also lays eggs. So we have the egg, then it hatches, we have a baby chick, and then it becomes a chicken. Fish, remember they also have an egg. They start with an egg in their life cycle. So the adult fish lays the egg hatches, it becomes a larva with the yolk sac, and remember the yolk sac goes away and then they become a juvenile fish or like a teenage fish, and then they become the adult again. Here we have the life cycle of a turtle for reptiles, and again, they come from eggs. So the adult lays the eggs hatch, and then the baby turtles go and swim out to sea if there's a sea turtle. Mammal life cycles are mammals are the only animals that give birth to live young. So that means that mammals don't hatch from eggs, except for a few animals, but I don't think anyone's studying the platypus. So remember that the adult tiger gives birth to babies, and then the babies grow up to become an adult, and that's the cycle. So it's a smaller cycle than, say, a turtle or a fish, or, well, chicken's pretty small too, but it's less complicated than an amphibian. So then we move on to invertebrate life cycles, and remember they also have different stages. So invertebrates also lay eggs, and that's why mammals are the only animal that gives live birth. Then stage 2 for invertebrates are they hatch out of the eggs, and it becomes a larva, and most of them actually they don't look anything like the adult form. And stage 3 is the pupa stage, and this is where they have the chrysalis, such as molting or metamorphosis happens that we were talking about at the start. And then they come and become adults, and they lay eggs of their own. So remember that we have these research websites to help you if you want to do some research on them. Okay, hopefully they have been helpful, at least having some of the information. But what you can also do is use Google, and I have come up with three basic questions for you. Now, because it's a life cycle, you have to write a little bit more for this one. So you have to write 5 to 6 sentences for it. But it's pretty easy because you're just describing the stages. So the questions that I have for you, the first one is, does your animal lay eggs or have a live birth? Okay. Then you can tell me about the stages. So how many stages they go through, what are each of the stages, what happens at each stage. You can be as detailed as you want in this part. But if you think about it, if your animal life cycle has 4 stages, then you've already written 5 sentences because you've told me if your animal lays eggs or has a live birth. That's 1 sentence. Then you've talked about each of the 4 stages. That's 4 sentences. So there's your 5. And then the last one is how long does your animal live for? So if you have even 3 stages here, as long as you've answered each of these questions, so this one, where the first one, which is lay eggs or has a live birth, then the second one, you've told me about the stages your animal goes through, and you'll either have 3 or 4, maybe even 5, depending on your animal. Then you can tell me what happens at each stage. And then you just need to find out how long does your animal live for, and you have found everything. So make sure that you have 5 or 6 important facts for this one. Okay, 5 or 6. So also remember that you need to keep your research list. That will help you. Those are the ones that I've been using the most. So let's have a look and go through it. So I'm going to get my paper up here. I'm using the second choice today just because it's a little bit easier to see. Now, I know if I go onto my first website here, which is How Does a Dog Grow, and it talks about the life stages of... So the dog cycle has 4 life cycles. So the life cycle of a dog includes 4 stages, and those are the 4 stages there. So I'm going to take that, and I'm going to put that into my page. So that covers the number of stages. So I know that there's 4 stages, okay? Let's see if I can find out if it's a live birth or an egg. I know what it is, but just to be sure, it's important. So it says after a gestation period of 63 days. Now I know that the word gestation period means that it's growing. So I know that a puppy comes from the mummy dog. So I'm going to put dogs have a live birth. So that's already 2 things that I have found. So now I'm going to start talking about what happens in each stage. So stage 1 is puppyhood. And it says that after 63 days, a puppy is born. Okay? So I'm going to take that. And if I wanted to talk more about what happens when they're a puppy, then this would be a good thing. So they play, they learn, their mom takes care of them. Those could be things that I could add in for my research. Okay, let's put that in. So stage 1 is puppyhood. Okay, so I already have 3 sentences or 3 facts that will help me. And this one I can actually make into 2. So I actually have 4 facts because I can say that stage 1 is puppyhood, and then I can describe it. So let's go to the next stage, which is adolescence. So adolescence is between 6 to 18 months of age. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that in my PR2. So stage 2 is adolescence. And then we have the next one, which is adulthood. So adulthood, your dog generally becomes an adult between 1 to 3 years of age. Look at that. And again, I can describe each stage depending on how much information I want to put in. So if you want to be more detailed than me, perfect. I would love that. Okay. So I'm going to put stage 3 is. Okay. And then I know as well that there's the senior stage for dogs because there's 4 stages. So I'm going to put this one. Your dog would enter senior stage as well. So there we go. We have that in there. So I know that dogs don't really molt. Some of them do kind of shed their fur a little bit, especially when it's hot. But it doesn't molt, like they don't completely, like a snake, take their fur off. I also know that dogs don't really go through metamorphosis. Puppies generally look like they would as an adult. They just grow bigger. But what I don't know is how long a dog normally lives. So I'm going to go into Google for this one, and I'm going to type in look at this. How long does a dog live? First one that comes up. And it says 10 to 13 years. So I'm going to take that and use that for my research. And, I've moved into this next stage here. So a dog lives for 10 to 13 years. Okay, so I have all my facts. I don't think I need anything else. I have plenty. I've talked about each stage. So each of the 4 stages is covered. I probably have way more than I need. So let's just double check. So I have answered that my animal obviously has a live birth. That's 1. There are 4 stages that my animal goes through in their life cycle. That's 2. I can tell you what each stage is. So stage 1 is puppyhood. That's 1. Stage 2 is adolescence. Then it's adulthood. Then it's senior. So that's already 6 sentences. And I know how long my animal lives for. So I actually have 7 sentences. Plus, by describing what happens at each stage, I have even more. So I have lots of information to write in my report, which is perfect. Okay? So once you have all of your information, you also need to complete one more thing for me, and that is a life cycle diagram. So you can choose which one of these. You don't have to do all 4. Please don't do 4. You only do 1. So choose which one you like. Some of them have 3 circles, and some of them have 4 circles. Because if you remember, if we go back to our mammals, slowly, okay, so if you were choosing like a butterfly, that has 4 stages, so you could use one of the 4 circle ones, okay, but if you were going to do one that was a mammal, look at this, 1, 2, 3 stages, you could do 3 stages. A turtle, you could do 4 stages. A fish, maybe you do 4 stages as well. Then a chicken, maybe you just have 3 stages. You have the chicken laying the egg and then a baby chick. It's up to you, okay? An amphibian one might be a little bit harder because there's a lot more stages, so it's up to you what you want to put in. So I have some examples for you. We'll just go back all the way to where we were. Didn't plan that very well, did I? And here we are. Okay, so choose one of them. It can have 3 circles or 4 circles, depending on what your animal is. If you chose a mammal, you might choose one with 3, or you could do something like this. So here we have 2 examples. One is the life cycle of a frog, and what they've done is they have the frog. So Kyle did this. Frog lays eggs, becomes a tadpole, then it becomes a little baby frog, and then it goes back to the adult frog. So they've done it in this 4 stages like that. You could have also done that the frog lays eggs, the eggs hatch into tadpole, okay, and then you could have drawn the tadpole with 4 legs, or even with 2 legs, and then an adult frog, whatever you want. And then we also have a 3 circle one, which is the life cycle of a robin. So here we have the egg, and obviously the egg has hatched into a baby and then an adult. So you decide which stages you want to show. Please make sure that you are showing the same kind of stages that you have written about. So for me, I have 4 stages in my life cycle of a dog, so I'm going to choose one with 4. I'm going to have one where the mom, so I'm going to have the adults, then I'm going to have maybe the adult with the puppies, and then I'm going to maybe have a puppy and then another dog, okay? You don't have to focus on the senior aspect. So for mine, remember we said that one of the life cycle stages was senior. You don't have to worry about that so much because remember we're focusing on the stages up until adulthood when animals can have their own babies. So your step for your diagram is to step 1, choose one design. Remember, you only have to do 1, okay? Do not do more than 1. I know some of you will. Please don't. Just do 1. Step 2, you're going to draw your animal's life cycle using the research you have done. It should match up. So if I see that you have 3 life cycle stages, then you should have 3 drawings. If you have 4 life cycle stages, then you should have 4 drawings. Remember to use details and to color your pictures. I will be sending them back if there's not very many details and if they aren't colored, okay? You need to also do your best work. So if it doesn't look very nice because I know you rushed through it, I'm probably going to send it back and make you do it again too, just like I would in class. Please do your best work. You guys are all really good at art. You're much better at drawing than me. So I know that you can do a really good job of this. So your research and life cycle diagrams are due tomorrow, but if you need more time, you can hand in your diagram on Sunday. So you can actually spend a lot of time, make sure you do a really good job, and send in your diagram on Sunday. Your research you should try to complete because tomorrow we're going to be working on your writing for your life cycles, okay? So remember, you have your life cycle diagram, just one to complete, and I've sent these pages out. They'll be on Cost Story, and you need to complete your research. So this is the most important thing. So today, try to do your research. Remember, you need 5 to 6 sentences, okay? So 5 to 6 for this one. So good luck, and I look forward to seeing your research and your diagrams. Now let's go see what Becky's up to.
All right, that's all from me and Becky. She's busy eating her treat. So, oh, there she goes. Have a great day.